until 7 o'clock.
Dina?
Michelle cannot make it. She's getting back into town, and Dina will probably join via Zoom because she's coming out after practice. So I would say around 7:15, 7:20, she might be joining us. So, all right, we will start at 7 o'clock by my watch. Welcome everybody to the Tuesday edition of the Needham Park and Rec Commission meeting for September 9th here at the Rosemary Recreation Complex. We do have a quorum with 3 commissioners here, along with our director, Stacy Mulroy. We hopefully will have a 4th one joining us after a practice or scrimmage that they're at. But we do have a quorum, so we will be able to have an official full meeting and vote on any discussion items that we need to have this evening. In regards to open forum public comments, we have no other guests here except for the vice chair of the school committee, which we will go into when we get into our discussion items.
We also have Meryl from the town meeting, and then
Fantastic.
Meryl, can you give me a thumbs up or a yes if you didn't hear us, okay?
She is muted on her end.
I know, she's currently muted, but thumbs up. Okay,
Oh, I was gonna
perfect,
say-
thank you.
I saw a fist. I was like, wow.
She's already
She does not like that, as a matter of fact, so. All right, so we've identified, we have nobody here actually, for the open forum for public comment. Meeting guests, we do have 2 that, just again, out of respect to the guests that we have here, we will go to the discussion items first, and then we will jump back into the director's report and brochure, if that's all right by the commission?
Sure.
All right, perfect. Here live, we do have Elisa, and I don't want to butcher the last name, so let's get it right.
Scatrude.
The vice chair of the school committee here, that I'm guessing that she is here to give us an update or follow up on some Pollard Middle School questions that maybe the commission might have, or any updates that we have?
So I'm not on the agenda per se. I wanted to be in attendance to hear your discussion and to answer any questions that you might have. I have been having some conversations around town, very good conversation this afternoon with Mark. Miskin. Sorry.
Sorry, I'll remember the first name to last name.
Really trying to understand some of the Memorial Day tournament needs and how he may be impacted by projects at different sites. And, just really want to be in listening mode and happy to answer questions. I do think that I think there's a lot of potential here in feasibility before we move into design for lots of people in town to get the things that they want. And I'd love to understand what those things are before the different doors close.
Sure, that's fine. So what we will do is also, we're just gonna do a little recap to bring us where we are here today. That I know there's been a bunch of meetings between PBBC, school committee, commission meetings, everything like that, just to kind of get the timeline of where we are, at least for the last 2 weeks, as a matter of fact. And I know that Cindy has been attending some of these, so it might be a little repetitious, but to a fellow, Commissioner Jim, just want to bring you up to date on where we stand here. And I apologize, I'm gonna look at my calendar to make sure I get the dates right here. So last week on Tuesday, September 2nd, there was a meeting of the PBBC and the school committee. That school committee did their meeting at Broad Meadow, where they went over the educational plan for the Pollard and the 7 options that are going to be submitted to the MSBA. I always have a C to it, I don't know why, the MSBA. And I think it was adopted unanimously by every school committee member and Dr. Kubican. So it went through, and there was a proclamation, I think, that was read by Michael O'Brien, who is the chair of the school committee. So it voted, and it went directly right to, or will go to the board. Right after that meeting, I would say about 15 minutes later, the PBBC met in Broad Meadow in the library, which I think we all kind of giggled at the size of the chairs of a elementary school to where we are in chairs like this. So where the meeting was ran by Hank Haff and Richard Cream of the PBBC, where they went over the decision that the school committee had just made prior to 10 minutes of that meeting starting. And it was brought up to date that there is, and Lisa, this is where I'm going to call on you.
Sure.
There will be like a 10 to 15 page document sent to the MSBA, not that 2,200 document page that's what was sent. There's gonna be another one, I guess, with a proclamation, I guess that was made, or are there two separate things being sent, or just one?
So it is literally that 1,000+ page document that has already been submitted. So it was
Okay.
submitted, I think that meeting was the 2nd and the submission was on the 3rd.
Got it, okay, so that might
It
be the third.
includes the educational program that the school committee voted on, and it also includes that, just the kind of first draft, laying out the different options. And the decision was made to forward all 7 options through to the second phase of feasibility, which is where we are now.
Correct, yep. Now, we also know that some of those phases are being sent just because you have to do certain, discovery things on certain things like that. Now, also, we were alerted by HENCAP at that meeting that a letter that was sent on behalf of the Park and Rec Commission will also be included in that submission to the MSBA. So that will be one more page adding to a very lengthy type of process. So that was submitted on the 3rd. That was actually news to us that night, that we didn't know that that was going to be part of it. We just thought it was going to be an internal memo that was sent to the town. But to hear that it's going part of the package, that was news to us that night. As we stand right now, it is now the 9th, that we are meeting tonight to go over any follow-up questions that the commission might have and any questions that we can ask the school committee. But I also want to preface it that there are 2 very important meetings tomorrow. That there is the chairs meeting at 8 a.m. at the school administration building, where myself and Vice Chair Michelle Geddes will be at. There will also be representation from the school committee, the PBBC, town manager will all be at this meeting tomorrow, starting at 8 a.m. Probably gonna go till 9:30, out of respect to the people that.
They try to keep it pretty tight.
Exactly, yes,
For an hour.
Exactly, but it usually goes a little bit longer, so let's say 9:30 out of the grace of that. Where there will be discussions of the chairs, and I think it will be a great open dialogue that all the chairs and vice chairs can have along with town management. And then later that night, 6:30 or 7 o'clock is the Pollard.
6:30.
6:30, and that will be via Zoom and live, correct? At the Pollard Middle School, I assume in the auditorium? Okay, perfect, and that is encouraged of any public citizens, that it is a public meeting that anybody is more than welcome to join. I would assume there will probably a presentation at the beginning, and then there will be a question or answer or maybe comment section after the presentation has been made. Okay, perfect. Stacy?
Was there a meeting yesterday?
No, I thought there was supposed to be a PBBC meeting yesterday,
Alright, so.
but there was not on the calendar, so there was nothing that, to look on that one.
I
I don't think that they have another one scheduled for this week, because I know they generally meet every Monday, that I didn't.
It's
They
usually
might
every
meet
other.
every other Monday.
It could be every other Monday.
So the
so, you know.
15th.
Okay, got it. So there will be a new one on that, which I can see why would you have a meeting if you're just gonna have a chairs meeting 2 days later and a public meeting the day, that same day. So that's where we stand on that. Does anybody feel I'm missing anything so far? Cindy, I know you were a part of some of these meetings. Anything?
We were happy that our letter was going to be included in the package, I will say that, we appreciate that. And I would imagine a finance committee person will be there tomorrow at the chairs meeting.
I would assume they're
Yes.
probably, I
Maybe
want to say
John.
at the last meeting, John Conley, who was representing the finance committee. I don't know if the vice chair was there.
Was it
I
Carol?
don't know, I can't remember if Carol was there, but it was either John and Carol or just John. I know there'll be a member of the select board that will be there, but I think they might be joining via Zoom. Again, it's until I see someone sit down or I see them on the screen,
Yeah, I think Heidi will be in person.
Okay.
Josh is stepping in for the vice chair. I believe will be on Zoom.
Who was the vice chair of the select board?
Kathy.
Got it, okay, perfect.
Conservation will be there. as
Oh,
well.
good, yes, Miss Conservation, I don't think it was that the last one.
Maybe someone, I can't.
I take it the architects will be there tomorrow too?
Yes.
Fantastic, okay, perfect. Any questions so far, any comments of where we stand? So, all right, I guess, Lisa, I mean, any questions, comments, concerns that you have from the school committee? I know that we have talked and we've met a few times. Is there any kind of new light or new information that you could share, or do you want to wait to maybe the chairs meeting tomorrow? I mean, it's completely up to you. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but if there's any updates, I know you had a conversation with Mark Miskin today. You're more than welcome to share that, or if there are any other comments or updates, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I would just say that, it's really important to understand where we are in the process. This is feasibility, and there is really an effort to figure out what is possible and what needs to be taken off the table. There are, you'll hear tomorrow, pretty significant challenges with both of the alternate sites, both the back Pollard Fields and the DeFazio site that are being studied. And at some point, I think, the designers want to start quickly narrowing down and moving into the design phase. So, one of the things, Mark, that you and I had talked about is that, the little three-wheel thing is, like, that is not a design, that is a concept of a plan, as they say. And one of the things that I shared with Mark this afternoon is, very early on, we identified, like, this does not work. If you want to think about this site, it does not work to have parking separated from the fields on a building. That this is something that needs to work for the town, not just for the schools, it's for the town, and that includes Parks and Rec. And so they are already, they haven't put anything on paper yet, but already starting to spin that building around and stretch it out and think, how could this fit better? What could this look like? One of the issues that's been raised about that site includes parking, and it's not just Parks and Rec parking, it's DPW parking, and all of the other ways that parking lot is used, again, by the town. So, this is the phase where we're raising all of those issues. I will say, as a member of the public, who happens to be very well informed on this project, I have been disappointed at the quickness of this commission starting to close the door, because I think that there are real possibilities to end up with better parking, better restrooms, the possibility of concessions, and more fields on the upper Pollard, which in the cost estimates have been built into the project costs as they've been estimated. I'm not a Park and Rec commissioner, and I know you all know a lot more than I do, but the phone calls that I'm getting are, doesn't that make the most sense, even if we lose a field? I don't know. I'm not a Park and Rec commissioner. I don't get to decide that. So, I say all that just to say that I think that this is really a time to identify what the problems to be solved are, and then to identify whether or not they can be solved. I don't know whether or not they can be solved, but I would love to be engaged in a really full vetting of that process. I think the letter that you sent has caused some people to just pivot away to say, like, okay, we're just gonna try and solve the problems on the Pollard site. The problems on the Pollard site include that it will impact the fields there, that we need zoning variances, that blah, blah, blah. It doesn't, the Pollard site will then not ever solve any of the problems that are already in existence at the field. And so that may be considered an opportunity. I will leave that to you all to decide. But I really just want to express again that I'm here to listen, that I want to understand that this is the phase that we are doing.
Any comments? I know I have a few. I was just taking notes just as I was going through that. I don't mind starting. We can kind of go around the robin. It's great that you are hearing calls saying, does this make the most sense? we're also getting the other sides of those calls. It doesn't make sense to do that. So I just want to let you know that, I mean, what you're hearing from your, it is great, but we're hearing the opposite from our end. And I know it's great that you talked to one user group, and it's probably one of our biggest user groups that's out there. And I think it's great that you reached out to them. But there are going to be more user groups that are going to start talking about this because it does affect multiple user groups. So it is good to hear that you're hearing some, but we're hearing the same exact on our end of the opposite some on that one. One of the things and this is me speaking, whenever we knew Pollard was going to be done, we knew we were going to lose those back fields at Pollard, the softball time and multi-purpose field. We knew it. We can make that work. It's something that we, I would say, planned for in our 5-year, plan that we always kind of talk about. Well, we weren't ever expecting Pollard to solve the phase. That is our responsibility to, work on parking, work on this, appreciate the support. We, at least in my opinion, never thought Pollard was going to fix the phase. So I mean, that's just something that's again, me talking. So the other questions I had there, or at least I think would help, is at our Park and Rec meeting that we had back in August. I'll say the calendar, make sure I get the date right. Was, sorry, the 11th was the meeting that we had that I was remote. That there was a list, and I want to say between 17 to 25 questions, comments, or concerns that the Park and Rec had. Would it help if we supplied those questions, comments, and concerns to the designer? Again, not expecting all to be answered because some of them are a lengthy ask and a lengthy time to find out, but we would love to help and we'd love to hear some of the answers to those questions and comments and concerns. So if we can generate a list to have it to you, can't have it for you tomorrow. I'll tell you that right now, just to manage those expectations. But if we can get a list to, I would say, worst case scenario, Monday of next week, because we can pull that, today is Tuesday, by Monday of next week, and if it's not sooner, we'll do that, but we will pull through the recording, all the questions and comments that we have, that just so everyone's on the same page, we can spread that to the school committee and the BBC, so it's not just going to one department, that everybody can see the concerns that the Park and Rec has. I think we will make that commitment that we can have them to by next Monday. I would correct by that.
I'll have to forward it, so yes, whatever date you have for me is great.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and those should go to Hank and Merrill.
Sure, of course. Yeah.
Share with them.
One of the things, just quickly, this is the last thing that I had, at least on my side, is that you talked about that they're reconfiguring, turning the coin for DeFazio. Are they doing the same for Pollard, or is it kind of like, hey, this is the only design that we can come up with, and sorry, we can't flip the building, we can't turn the building? Are all of the sites that are listed on that 7 options, are all of them, minus the first one, where the retrofit, if I can word it that way, the code upgrade, excuse me, is that are all other 6 designs kind of being re-triggered, if I can word it that way, or jiggered?
Yeah, so the feasibility phase, like, we're not in design, we're starting to move into preliminary design, but up until the submission last week, and really all the way through into December, this is still part of feasibility. The first part of feasibility is just understanding the sites, understanding the needs. It's a lot about the educational program. What do we need to build to meet the needs of the school itself? So I have no doubt that what we see as a final design, it may rhyme with the things that have been put on these pages, and there is a piece, particularly for those back Pollard fields, it's so tight. One of the things they said was, we really don't see how we could do a 3-story building there, right? That's part of feasibility. Like the square footage is just not gonna work to do a 3-story building on the back Pollard fields. It's gonna have to be 4 stories. How those 4 stories are configured, what they look like, what the parking looks like, where it ends up in the site, those are still things that are being explored.
Okay. One of the just 2 quick follow-ups. I know Cindy and Jim, I'm sorry we're taking the whole thing, but just quick question, just from my knowledge. When do you hear back initially from the MSBA? So something was submitted on the 3rd. When do you get like an acknowledgement, a receiving email, not just, hey, thanks for the email type of thing, like when will you get a reaction, comment, response to that email, just for date wise? And the second part of that question is, December is when the final decision has to be made, or
The,
what?
the single, the single choice of what is going to move to be designed will happen in December, so.
Do you have a date on that?
Um,
Ballpark, it could be, 6 to the 8th or something like that.
No, I think it's on the early side in December. It's not December 31st. Is it December 15th? Is it December 9th? Like, I'm not 100% certain, but it's the earlier side of December.
Got it, but you will also hear back from them.
So I
End
think
of this month?
at this phase, I'm not sure how deeply they read. I think they go through to say the elements are here.
Mhm.
And I'm not the expert at this point, I will confess. And so that is a question I'm sure Harold will let me know what that answer.
Got
But we have been in conversation with them about the options that were put forward. We've been in conversation with them about whether we needed to narrow down. At one point, there was a question, as you all remember, did we need it to narrow down to 3? We went back and read, it said at least 3, and so we went to them and said, could it be more? Because we feel like we need, we've done a lot of this work over the summer, we feel like we need to get some more input. I do think that there will be a desire between tomorrow's chairs meeting, and then I'm anticipating kind of a bigger all boards meeting toward the end of September, and I'm expecting that the desire will be to start taking some options off the table at that point, just so that the designers can focus their time a little bit more. The MSBA is in conversation with us, but I don't think at this point that they have a particular meeting on our submission.
Okay.
Does that make sense? And if I'm wrong, I'll let you know.
No, that would be great, thank you. All right, I've taken up enough, who wants to go next? Cindy?
So Lisa, you're always welcome at our meetings, we welcome people to come. I'm really surprised you would come and use this forum to tell us you're disappointed in what we've done. It's very surprising to me, it makes me a little angry actually. Because let me tell you where we come from. We were not included in the initial meetings. We were not included to be told that DeFazio was a very strong option. In fact, the preferred option from everything I saw. So when you say we're early in the process, we were late to the process. So it is very disappointing to me to hear you say that. If we didn't send that letter, we would still be waiting, twiddling our thumbs, to hear anything from you folks. So please let me finish. And that's disappointing to me. We're early in feasibility, you say, but I used to be in the PCDC 5 years, so there are 5 years you go down FinCom. The horse gets out of the barn pretty quickly, and if you're not on it right away, you've missed it. And so if we were to wait until, I don't know when, but if we were to continue waiting, there would be no line drawn in the sand that said, hey, we'd like to be noticed because we feel this park is really important to the town. And your job is education. That's not our job, right? Our job, we're elected to do something different. So they intertwine, they mesh, we're all in the same town. But again, remember, I'm elected to be a park and rec commissioner. And so one of the things I'm supposed to protect is the town forest, the parks, the open space, the recreational programs. So to tell me that you don't think we should have drawn that line in the sand is really surprising to me. Because I think we were late to that party, not through any fault of our own, because we tried to get involved. So I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. I'm gonna say feasibility, there's a lot of work that's been done here. And it was very clear, it's been clear to me that this DeFazio site is the preferred option. I mean, that initial matrix was all green on DeFazio, right? Highest score, and yet we disagreed with many of those ratings. We said that, and I believe they changed one, even though we mentioned several. So you should not be surprised that we're not happy with this, we weren't happy with the way the process has gone. And this is not early, because this has already been sent to the SBA. So we're not early, and I think you need to understand what our responsibilities are, and we don't think this is the best option. Now, you said you spoke as a citizen, as a taxpayer. As a citizen, as a taxpayer, I am amazed at the size of this project. And if this, and I'm talking about the dollar size, if this happens, I hope someone is doing a study of which projects will not happen in the future, because I think it will preclude many, many other projects. That's, speaking as a citizen, that's not my park and run that. But let me just tell you that I don't think I'm the only one. And as Chris said, the calls and the conversations that I've had have been things about, please protect our park. Please stand up for this. Do not let this happen. This is ridiculous. This is not what we talked about 10 years ago. And I've been around that long, so I remember those conversations. And I also remember that we've been cut out of the process before, and we had to fight tooth and nail to get back in. Surprising to me, because some of the players are the same, so surprising to me that would happen again. But you shouldn't be surprised that we want to protect this property. In the plan, when the designer turned to us and said, well, we'll give you another field at Pollard, that doesn't really make up for, in my opinion, ruining the DeFazio site for our purposes, right? It's going to be different. It's not going to be as good for recreation, for fields, for all of the permitting that we do there. It's not going to be the same. You can give us a field at Pollard, and you can say to the public, well, we're giving you more fields, why are they complaining? But it changes the whole complexion of that recreational facility. And I don't think that you folks have tried to recognize that at all. And I don't think the PVPC has done a good job about that. But we have been left behind before, and I know if you don't get in early in feasibility, feasibility quickly becomes design.
I don't,
Right? And there is not a line that's gonna say, okay, September 23rd, that's a day you need to get on board. We need to be in there early. So we stated how we feel. We haven't had a meeting since then. I don't believe we have had a change of heart. And anyway, again, I'm surprised you would use those words to us. You're always welcome to come here. Not so crazy about what you said, but you need to understand where we're coming from, and what we're elected to do. Because we certainly understand what you're elected to do. We have a very good understanding. We don't completely respect the school committee, your process. But we have our own, and we would like to have that same respect.
I know that there was a meeting, so the designers were hired in May.
And I'm not asking you to rebut what I said, honestly, I just
Yeah,
want to
no,
say my piece.
I appreciate that, that mistakes were made. And I apologize to Chris. I have sat and looked at how can we do this better next time. I can't undo the past. The first chairs meeting, Parks and Rec was not included in. That meeting was a meeting that basically just talked about the process. It was not particularly substantive. At that point, the designers had just been hired. And we're just in information collecting mode. The process is moving quickly because there's been a lot of work on the educational program that has happened already. And there's been a lot of work on the school master plan that has happened already in terms of thinking about 7A configuration 6 through 8 and how a Pollard project sequences with anything that would need to happen at High Rock, anything that needs to happen at Mitchell. I think the desire from the PVPC has been to move quickly because every delay, because it then starts to push into town meeting approvals and things, it becomes a 6-month delay. It's not like, okay, if we add a month here, then we get a month on the end. It starts to become a 6-month because of the size of this project and because of the escalation of construction costs, the timeframe has been tight. And also, the first shot that the designers made, yes, it looked at DeFazio, and I I believe that everyone in this room knows that DeFazio has always been a study site.
Could, just for point of clarification, the tot lot and the parking lot at DeFazio, not to the DeFazio Fields or the complex, it is in the tot lot and the parking lot. I just want to get that point of clarification.
Absolutely. And I think the first that I heard, and that I think really anybody outside of staff heard, that it was not going to be possible to push into that DPW site because of the fuel depot, was at the chairs meeting. So that takes us to mid-July, right? July 22nd, I think. was
July
the-
22nd was the first meeting that we were invited to, and we were invited 3 days prior.
And that, so that meeting was really the first time that I had heard, and I think that the rest of the chairs had heard, that they couldn't use that DPW part of the school committee jurisdiction site. So, things did move from there very quickly, and I think, you know, the designers did come back with a pretty clear preference that they expressed in that matrix. I think that there were some changes. It did not feel to me, and I attended one of your meetings and then watched the other meeting, that people really understood what the zeros and the threes meant. We can go through that separately if you want, but I do feel like people were trying to hear what was important. And I think that when the architect was here meeting with you, I don't think she had an understanding of what your understanding was. And I think there were things that I think you all felt dismissed, and she was trying to say, we'll tackle that later, we'll put it on the list.
Probably the worst answer. We'll tackle this later.
Right,
I
right.
mean, that's just, that's the worst answer ever to
And it's
give.
definitely being dismissed.
Oh my
We'll
God.
circle back to that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, I mean,
Anyway.
are you not to beat the dead horse here also, but you just said that the DPW parcel, or excuse me, where the fuel tank is, DPW pretty much said no. Are
Well,
you
the
disappointed with
town
them?
says
Because they
yes. I mean, I'm not disappointed with them.
but you're disappointed with us for sending a letter.
I am understanding that that is a multi-million-dollar, multi-year project that would push this whole thing back, and anything that pushes this back, because to relocate the fuel depot requires finding the place, doing the permits, finding the money, so it just pushes everything back. And anything that, like, every 6 months that you go back is millions and millions of dollars. So the ask was, could we look at the Asa Smallfield as part of the study site? The other thing that I think was a huge miss, Chris, is that we did not prepare you to come into that chairs meeting. I also didn't know what was happening in that chairs meeting. I think I probably had a better grasp of it in the meeting than you did, who was like, I'm just here for the first time. And that is no reflection on you. I think that is a reflection of the process moving pretty quickly, a lot of new information, and really not preparing you to answer the question that you were asked on the spot.
So you can see where the frustration is coming from. There seems to be an
Absolutely.
a lot of, hey, sorry, we forgot you, hey, sorry, we'll get you on the back end. Is that, I mean, how can you not think that we're not gonna be upset about something like that and send a letter? Because we're not just gonna lie down, and let something like this happen. That's why we had to send a letter, just to get it out there, because it just seemed voices weren't being heard, or was one group was hearing it, but not all the other groups. That's why we had to send out a letter, because we want everybody to know we're just not gonna lie down and let something like this happen. And we're sticking by our letter. It's only 3 of us here. I can say I'm not changing my thoughts right now. I can't speak for my other 2 commissioners here, but I mean, tomorrow should be a very interesting meeting. So, and I'm sorry, Jim, I mean, we can't let this take up too much time, because we do have an agenda, we do have to follow. Jim, I want to give you the courtesy to
Just
chime
a
in.
couple of things. The matrix, I mean, the matrix can, you can put the numbers to say whatever you want. I mean, DeFazio, they didn't really figure in, DeFazio's like a jewel of Needham. People moved to Needham because of the facility. And you don't know how the facility's gonna change if there's a school there. And constructing the back of the, the matrix, it had constructing the back of college would affect the I forget exactly the wording. I just drove by in Newton Countryside School. You know what that is? And that building is huge building right next to the old school. And it's a temporary problem. And another big thing on the matrix that separated it was the train. That can easily be mitigated.
Sure.
They do it all over the place. I mean, I've spoken to architects and it's just a design matter.
Yeah, I think there was, I think that the original, education program, there was a request for, green space and windows that open, fresh air and all of that stuff. And so that mitigation does require, it's definitely possible, but it does require, that those buildings on that side of, that whole wing be closed, sealed windows with all the soundproofing and whatever. Having a school on the backside of Pollard, that is not a failure in my mind. That is a good and reasonable and very possibly the right answer. And so as a school committee member, I'm fine with that. I felt like there were some possibilities that would work really well for the fields and for recreation in general. If you have a big parcel of land on Harris Ave that, could we keep the gymnasiums? Could we build something else there in the future recreation oriented? Like, I don't know. But once the door's closed, you can't even ask those questions anymore. So that's, it felt to me like the biggest issue was the parking, and that is like the next version of parking at Fazio will have parking between the school and the fields. It will not, or maybe it will be split.
I think it's more the nature of DeFazio rather than parking. There'll be parking. If it's not one place, it'll be another place. It's just what makes DeFazio DeFazio. Like all our kids grew up doing all these events at DeFazio. And it's
If I
a
could say,
destination.
we name the fields after people for special reasons. We just don't name them for, hey, let's just name this field. You have Asa Small, you have Healy Field, you have all of those fields that are named. You have the complex named after, the old athletic director who coached for 30 years. There's a reason why he has his name on there. There's a reason why everybody on that field that has a name after them is on there. And that's where the sentimental value goes. And you just can't change that, in my opinion. Dina's gonna jump on her own here. Just to warn you. Coming in.
Oh, I have the
Yeah.
purchase bid list up.
Got
so
it,
I
coming in
can- I
now.
know.
So, all right, I'm sorry, Jim, I just had to get that one in. Anything else? Okay. Anything else that we want to just kind of add? I think, we got a lot out and I think we could talk about this until sunrise.
We could talk a lot about this. I think maybe once you're getting the feeling that we're not going to be quick to change our opinions, if we change them at all, because this is just, as Jim said, this is a beautiful facility. We think of it as beautiful, right? It's a recreational complex. And I will tell you, you talk to an architect and a builder, they look at a flat piece of land and they see a building. Well, we don't. We look at it, we see plain fields, we see trees, we see forests, we see trails. So there's a basic difference, right? And that's always going to be. The other side is on other school projects, we've been promised fields and they haven't been delivered to us. And we've asked, where's the money in this school budget on this project for fields? Oh, it's there, it'll be there at the end. Well, if you've been, I don't know how long you've been on school, because you probably know, you get to the end of these projects, there's no extra money, right? You're adding adults, you're asking for more money. So there's never enough money for fields. And I will say, my experience is the people who build buildings, your architects and your builders who be the best at school buildings, they're generally not the best at fields. They don't know recreational facilities, and they may have a field division or a recreational division. But I will tell you, they're not the people we ever get quotes from when we're doing fields and we're doing recreational. So what we have gotten in the past has been quite subpar, and so when the designer says to us, well, we'll give you fields, you'll have fields. Really, will we really? Because it's hard to be trusting of that, not because we think they need to mislead us, but they just don't do it. So I think you have to go to it knowing that has been our experience. I've been on the commission for over 20 years, so I've seen that. And it, and again, they see that flat piece of property, they want to build. That's what they see, and then they say, we'll just give you a field, because what's a field? Well, to us, a field it's a pretty complex thing. You can talk to Ed Olson to get the details. So that's where we come from. We're, I'm suspicious that we won't get, again, not because they're being devious, but I'm suspicious that we won't get what they promised. And I also know this complex will be forever changed, and that's a really big deal to us, and I think it's a big deal to the town.
Just to chime in on what Cindy was saying, the three projects that come to mind that Park and Rec eventually had to take over. Newman Fields, before your time, is that they redid the Newman School, then the fields had to be done, because there was drainage issue coming off the roof of Newman that it was flooding the fields. We were very fortunate that we had CPC available that was able to do the 2 Newman Fields. The one is being done right now, the tennis courts. Again, being done, that was an afterthought of by the building. Again, it was something that was laid down space and then it was just made into tennis courts. We just got funding it, and hopefully we'll be finishing very soon those tennis courts. Again, Department of Rec stepping in. One that we have in the design phase, or excuse me, preliminary phase, Elliott School design. The field's there. Again, a project that's being taken over by Park and Rec and Park and Forestry. That these are things that, again, it's a good value add to the schools. But what's the consistency is that Park and Rec are the ones that are doing these projects, because, as Cindy said, you get the promise at the end and you get 10% of the promise, and then we got to come up with another 90% to do what we are today. And it just seems to be the cycle that keeps on going through. So that's where I stand on it. Stacy, anything? I know we're kind of talking here. You are the director. Anything to say? Okay. All right, so on that note, what we will do is we will go back to our agenda. That I know it's very abbreviated one, but Stacey's gonna take it.
It is, and I apologize for having a family thing this weekend and not being able to kick out a director's report, but staff's working on the numbers, the final numbers of the pools and the camps and the badges are sort of ongoing for tents and pickleball courts. One of the things I did start looking at since 2023 is our daily passes. I was able to pull reports now.
That's the new software that we got,
That
right?
is the new software. I will put the caveat out there, once again, that we have to remember that there are 15-year-olds entering the data that we are then pulling for reports. And so sometimes it looks a little, I'm like, oh, this doesn't seem so right. Human error over and over and over again. But, so that is one of the things that we're gonna be adding to the director's report, is that part of it, which I think is significant. And it is I think it's a lot more money than the town would predict. I mean, like, the people that go to the pool, not like us. I knew the number was high, but I don't think people knew the number was quite high.
Stacy, do those track in town, which is out of town? Can you tell residents?
As long as the staff puts it in the right thing, yes.
So you think the data maybe.
So the data after 5 o'clock at night could be mixed because it's the same price for residents and non-residents, because it's the discount fee. So that can be skewed, but I can also pull those out. And then you can tell residents versus non-residents, because we have 2 separate fee structures.
I
Typically,
think there'll be great interest in that this year after.
well, and that's why I started running it, because I was like, all right, is it that much more than last year? No, it's not. Are there that many non-residents? More than I would have ever guessed. But again, what we found out this year was if you Google outside pools in Massachusetts, guess who comes up first?
We're number one.
you do Batman.
And I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
Google, can you not do that?
Yeah.
That'd be great. You know, and still, if you look at one of our pools versus some other pool, like, it's got 2 giant slides and 0 entry, and what pool are you gonna take your kids to for the day?
Lap swim, walk.
20 bucks. So that is one of the things that we're gonna be adding. As far as what's going on right now, there's a few things. So the fall registration starts tomorrow. The brochure is out. It is attached to your packet. I did not get a chance to edit it, and Jim came in and said a few things, and I'm like, now I'm going through it like, oh,
They were mine, they
So
were.
you guys-
they're minor,
It
but
wasn't
they're
like a
like,
big deal.
for me, I'm like,
Do we call
what?
Wellesley or something? Jeez.
But I am quite focused on those things, so I'm gonna be working on that, but wait, so we have fall registration starts tomorrow at noon, except for our seniors that come in at 9 a.m.
There will be a rush.
Student registered person.
They register in person starting at 9 a.m., they are here around 7:30, just chit
Well, they were
chatting.
even up for 2 hours, so.
Yes.
And you know this because in the old days, we had a registered person.
Look,
And you'd
I
be there with
finally,
your kids.
I gave into it, and for a long time, I just bought them coffee and donuts, because I was like, just come on.
Yeah.
And they've got all their checkbooks, and they've got, it's just a joyful time. So that'll happen tomorrow. Fall Family Day is gonna be, we're gonna start pushing for that. That date is the October 25th. That is the day that was Spooky Walk, and then we combined a bunch of other things. We've got some new events coming in. Hannah and Chris are working on them. The petting zoo, don't worry, we'll be back. That is always a big hit.
Is the maze?
The maze, nobody talks about the maze. The maze is not being talked about. The maze is not coming back.
Okay.
But if you remember the spring dance that we were helping, select board
Yes.
and that we had to have canceled, well, we got a quote unquote credit or a option to use the inflatables in the future, so we are opting to use them during the fall family day.
So October 25th.
So it'll be October 25th, so once the spooky walk kind of circles out of there, then the inflatables will go up over at Greens.
Greensfield.
Cool.
Yeah, we're trying to keep everything except for the library program, which I think are a very specific niche of people. We're trying to keep it between Greens and the town common.
Okay.
So that it's like all in the same area. And trying to overlap a little bit less, because that was the feedback, is like, I wanted to go to this, but I couldn't get to this, and I mean, we can't do anything about soccer practices or nap times or anything else that people email us about, but we can do something about it.
All soccer haven't changed that.
Yeah.
So, any plans to change the police presence?
Yes.
Because the traffic, the
Yeah.
people on the sidewalks and
Yeah.
the traffic.
So Hannah's already talked to them about police detail. I've already talked to them about if you can't fill a police detail because you have, they just don't always fill them, or there's something more important, like
Right.
by
Yeah.
95.
Yep.
But they always promise, they always send down bike cops, they always send down whoever's on patrol to come down and stuff like that.
The center was very problematic.
Yep.
Kept recalling it was election time. So they were
Yes.
holding signs down.
Well,
there,
we
too.
also checked that to make sure that.
Right, not
One
that,
election
thank
time.
goodness. But people zip through that intersection, there's kids in costumes and parents in costumes in the middle of the street.
Yeah, people just.
So,
But we'll have them, we'll have band. Chris is working on like a spooky storyteller person. Seems cool.
so the band will be in Greensfield also?
Nope, they'll be on the common.
They'll be on the phone?
Who's that? AD system.
It'll be the people we get on a fairly regular basis, the teardowns? Yes, the teardowns.
Sure.
It's a dad
The dad group?
Dad
Dad
group, yeah. When in doubt, it's usually a dad group.
Yes.
So that's coming up. We are, the team, not me, are revamping our Kids Night Out. So Kids Night Out is a Friday night where it's really a parents' night out where you drop your kid off and we entertain them for 4 hours for like $30 and we feed them and you can go do what you want to do, shop, eat, whatever.
Yeah.
The problem is there are a lot of other groups that are doing similar things,
Habitat for
Humanity and stuff like that. So we are trying to do something, sort of stealing family fun days from the pool and pulling them into Kids Night Out. So we'll have like a theme with a craft and a little bit more oomph to see where that goes.
You think there's still a desire or a need to fill?
I think the answer is yes, because I know, oh, we went to Habitat for Humanity and there was like 50 kids there, and I'm like,
Okay.
they could have been with us.
So my daughter sends her daughter to a daycare and they do a once a month Saturday night thing.
Yep.
That you could, and the daycare teachers volunteer, but they're
Oh, wow.
there, but it's for very little children.
Yes.
It's babies.
Right?
Right, but it's good daughter and husband.
Yeah.
Go out for dinner or.
I mean, you cannot,
4:30.
I have,
Yeah, it was 5:30, so there was
I was
that.
gonna say, knowing how much a babysitter costs, regardless of the number of kids you have, and feeding them
Oh,
and
it's
everything
so
else,
expensive.
Oh, yes.
So
it's like, yes, so we're trying to do that. We might even move it over to one of the schools where there's a gym, so we have talked about putting in a Pollard, ironically, because of the two gyms, so we could do the movie on one gym and do something else in the other gym, and so like, it would pull in potentially a different crowd of people, so staff's working on those things. The last thing that they're struggling with, and this is a big struggle, so be prepared to help. We are struggling to find gingerbread houses for the gingerbread house
much to me.
event. We did that one year and we almost lost Grace Ryan
Yeah.
after about
Yeah,
2 weeks of her making them.
we can buy them.
You
Well,
got the pre-made kits.
so the kits that we were getting them from a company called, and I cannot make this up, and I was so happy when accounting had to call me to ask me what website I was buying things from. It's called Sprinkle Pop. When that shows up on your B card, you get a lot of phone calls. But we could buy basically there was 4 pieces, right? And you just settled it with hot glue and moved on. Well, they're no longer supplying. They're just going with sprinkles. They're moving away from gingerbread houses. And so now we are doing a deep dive into the internet to see if we can find something that's less
How many
than
are we looking for here?
70, 75. But
I
at
might have a lead.
10 bucks a pop or 12 bucks a pop
Yeah.
retail, and we try to charge 15, and don't forget I need staff and candy and frosting and all the other things. Never mind the time for my staff to glue them together.
Supposed to glue them with frosting, but I know the glue keeps them.
Yes, my argument is nobody eats the gingerbread, except for like the grandmas, which we can give them a whole. Plus, the gingerbread we're buying, you don't wanna eat. And I don't know if you've ever had a 5-year-old walk around with a house made out of frosting, holding it together, but it's pretty quickly, right? We got rid of a lot of tears with somebody running over with a hot glue gun and being like, look, it's all fixed. It's all set. So those are some of the things they're working on.
Any thought of asking Roche Brothers if they have a way, maybe I
So-
think they used to sell kits, maybe they still do.
Roach Brothers donates all the pumpkins to our pumpkin
Oh,
painting
okay.
event.
We don't want
So
to go
we
to the
try
Roche.
not to,
Mhm.
yeah, we try not to go, they donate all of our pumpkins to the pumpkin painting, not carving. We told Grace that story about a week and a half ago, she was like, "Ooh." So we're looking for other
Okay.
options on that one.
I'll make a few calls tomorrow.
Great. This is like, when people are like, what do you do for a living? And I'm like, well,
My research.
this week I looked for gingerbread houses all day. As far as capital projects, the Claxton Field, they had a meeting yesterday, and when I say they, I mean Cataldo, Ed, Hannah, town engineers. Don't know if somebody from Weston Sampson is there. I'm getting all the information secondhand because I could not be there. But the word on the street is they want to delay opening longer than expected. I need to talk to Ed one-on-one. Ed is out, he just had knee surgery today,
Yes.
so he's out for the rest of the week. I also want to connect with Karis, who I don't think was at that meeting, and Katie King. So I don't know when the date is, but there are quite a few patches or large swaths of hay-like grass.
Dead grass.
So it's more of the grass aesthetic wise.
It's not
It's not-
aesthetic, it's.
sorry, You're
it's-
right. You
I
don't
mean,
want
yes, aesthetically it does not look great, but the sod hasn't taken.
Got it.
And so if we let unleash 400 little cleats out there, we could be closing it very quickly, and
So
that
what
was,
was the date, what date was it?
it was September 1st.
So
So the user groups have told that we have punted it to at least the middle of September, we do not know the date. It may be going later than that, though I don't know, because I wasn't able to be at the meeting, and I did call Ed today, and I talked to him for a few minutes, and then I realized I should probably wait another day to.
Maybe he was.
He was a
Yeah,
little
the date
recovered.
next week,
So I was like, you know what, we'll talk later. So I will get you more information on that. I also want to talk to Katie King. The biggest concern is, if, like I said, if you put 400 cleats out there, it ended up being a very expensive project, like almost $3 million at the end of the day. And so, Ed in general is very conservative with our fields, and because of that, we have beautiful fields.
Mhm.
But in this sense, I think we are doing the right thing. But as soon as I have more information, I will send it to maybe all of you at the same time. The minute I have any information, nothing's been said. Like I said, the user groups are aware that it's not moving until about the middle of September.
But everything else is working, if I can word it that way, like
Everything
everything
else is
like the
fine.
show,
The
you know,
lights
the.
are working,
Got
the irrigation is now working, but the
It's not on a
irrigation,
generator anymore, it's.
generator's fine, the
Mhm.
electric, everything's fine, they're
It's just
just,
those
they just got
patches.
behind the 8 ball.
Got
And
it.
now they're trying to get it back up,
It's
and
too
they're,
bad.
trying to get that sod to like just like,
Mhm. Once it kind of goes, it goes.
yeah,
and-
but I mean, the wildflower garden around the whole outside path is beautiful. I've never seen wildflowers pick up this quickly, it's truly amazing.
Yes,
I'm
I
like,
do the same.
When, I mean, is there another meeting? Because I mean, honestly, I just like to walk around it because I don't want to walk around on my own because then you get someone that
You're
drives
so
by and they're like,
tempted.
hey, there's someone on it, it must be open.
I thought-
Yeah,
Who
so.
will yell at you? First he'll take a
Well,
picture of
maybe
you,
Who
and
could
then
take
he'll
us?
yell at you.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah, who could take us?
They can set up
Just, I mean, again, it looks phenomenal from just
It looks
driving
great.
by.
I should love
It's
to go
just,
straight,
I'd love to,
right. Every
just,
time I drive by, I'm like, just go to the border area, and just walk around.
City puts on a hat and
As
sunglasses.
long as you're not out there chipping golf balls like
Oh,
the
yeah.
people I get pictures of. But just, that's a quick
Okay.
update for you guys. There'll be more to come on that one. The Elliott design project is going well. Again, Ed and we had scheduled a meeting. It was supposed to be tomorrow. I have a family obligation I need to get to. Ed is out.
Mhm.
So we're bumping that meeting to next week, but I think we're on our 4th meeting with the Time Bond as an engineer firm. Emmy O'Brien, also known as LSI, the Landscape Structures, the playground company that we're working with.
Okay,
On my quest to make all of the school playgrounds the same vendor. I also had a meeting about the Newman preschool playground yesterday, because they are looking to replace that playground, and talking to them about why I prefer, they ultimately get to make the decision, but this is why I prefer it, because A, it's a vendor we use all over town, B, they're on a state contract, so when we need to replace parts, they come very quickly, and I don't have to do the whole quote thing, so. They are leaning towards LSI on that preschool
Okay.
thing as well, so.
tennis courts,
Tennis courts are looking great, all of the
Really?
updates.
they look phenomenal.
Hannah laughed at me, so she had a meeting up at both at Claxon and at the tennis courts, and in both places I was not there, and both times they said, hey, we need a change order, does Parker Rec have any money?
No.
And Hannah's like, I don't know anything about the money, you're gonna have to talk to Stacy, so, I will reach out to engineering about what they're asking for. I know for the tennis courts, and I didn't know it even existed until I saw it, but you guys might know. Between what used to be the storage area and the gym, if you go out towards the back, towards Webster, there's like a path with like, we'll call them stairs.
Stairs, yeah, yes.
And so they want to replace those and make them A, ADA, and B, not dangerous. The, project managers. Would ideally,
What's the, it's not up,
it's actually us.
that's what I thought.
Vendors are not, so we.
Are they wrong? Like, should we do that? Absolutely, but
Yeah.
obviously, it'll
There's a
come down
price tag
to.
with that.
down to
So
that.
we always have to take those off, which is why we do the yellow plush tape all around those.
Yes, and so,
They're not in good shape.
no, and I walked out of them and I was like, why are these not always locked off?
Right, we block them off that, right, when we go around with the caution tape, we definitely block
so-
those off.
when I'll use it, I use the term accessible like liberally, they're not gonna be ADA compliant, but they will be more accessible. Just because of the slopes, we will never be able to get them
So can
compliant,
we do that? We don't have to make them compliant?
because there's a second pathway around the other side of the building, yes.
Is this a project that could be done, say, wintertime or springtime? I mean, depending
It
on.
can be
maybe
done anytime, but then we have to remobilize a contractor that's already.
So he's already on site, might as well, since they're already there, do the work.
Which is why these things always,
They any idea of cost?
21,000. So it's not astronomical, but they're also that, have you guys been involved? So the trustees have been involved a lot, but,
Memorial Park trustees?
it's not in this particular,
Oh,
but
okay.
this is something else. So, they're looking to put a platform on the hill for people to watch football games. So this is a driver by a parent in town whose child is in a mobility device or has mobility concerns and wants to watch, not from the ground, because she can't see anything, but she can't get on the hill. So the group that is constructing the tennis courts will be creating that platform. So engineering's on that one with whatever. So that contractor is already adding on, which means the cost is as probably low as if we're ever gonna get for that. So
Okay.
That's an
I,
interesting.
Do they, I mean, I know it's their parcel plan, where would they put it, like, ideally?
you know where the path, the stone path
Yes.
makes an S?
Mm-hmm.
Right at the S, straight off that.
Okay.
Right beyond the pole.
Oh.
So they'll put a little platform with the fence, like
Okay.
a railing.
Sure.
So people will tip in,
Okay. Kind of like
Good
that.
for a lot of people.
Perfect. Thank you for that. One other follow-up on a different, I guess we'll call it a capital project, the new bleachers for McLeod. We order them? What are we doing?
nope, we can't just order them.
I know. But where do we stand in the process?
RFP has been written, it has not been posted yet, so request for proposal is what we're going for. Because of the cost of the project. Justin's team has almost completed it, he has not sent it to me yet. But we're gonna push that through, I think, early next week.
Mhm.
Then it has to be like, it has to be posted for 2 weeks, and then it has to be this for 2 weeks, and then you can close it with the bids.
Got it. But we would assume the original contractor that built McLeod would be one of the.
Casaldo
first.
wants it,
Okay,
absolutely.
there you go.
It'll just be a matter of if they are the best
Mhm.
fit.
They're familiar with the area, they're the first time, just value add.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Any other questions? Yes. Cindy, go ahead.
Surprisingly, I have one. Back to the pool. Where do we stand with the closing process with Weston and Sampson? I don't remember, is that on the contract or do we have to go out for a
Nope,
new?
it is under contract,
It's a 2-year, isn't it?
Yeah, I was trying to remember when it started and ended.
so it crosses fiscal years, so we're in the beginning of one right now.
Okay.
They actually started today, they came by today to start the process, they will be back tomorrow to put the covers on, which is always my favorite day of the year. Not when it closes, when you actually get those covers on.
That is the.
And so it's actually a whole new crew people have never seen. There's been some big uproars over at Weston Sampson.
Lots of turnover.
Devin and I have some serious concerns about letting them reopen it and re-upping their contract because it's a 1 year with 2 years to add on. It's not, they don't definitely get the next 2 years.
Got it.
We have some concerns about them. We have documented all of them. I have kept finance in the loop about this because this has been an ongoing issue. So
It's too bad that's an issue because that company should be the best.
it should be the
Running,
best.
closing and maintaining it since they built it.
So my not perfect observation of this is they are really good at building. And then that's it.
So the maintenance part of it,
Their maintenance leg has not been a big focus for them. And for the past 3 years we've bid it out, they're the only bidders.
Right.
So they don't have any anybody to hold them accountable.
Maybe incentive.
Yeah.
But
And
that's a concern that no one else is interested in.
but now we have somebody.
Oh, you do? Okay, so that's very good news, because that's always, we've only had that one mayor nominee.
Be somebody who self basically, but
Good, good, good. Okay.
Okay. Pick up.
so yes. We might be in a better spot for that moving on, but then we don't know, but it might be an instance where Cecilia gets pulled into some conversations with us and Sampson about extending the contract, or not extending.
Anything else in regards to the director's report? Jim?
What about the design of the pickleball? You did everything.
The RFP has not gone out yet for that one, no. I don't know why I ever think I'm gonna get an RFP out in the middle of the summer, but,
Just with all these other things, it's like.
yes, that, so we can go out for design at any point. I have talked to Ashley at DPW, who's now in charge of putting out RFPs for, design. And we're kind of batting it around and putting it out sort of all the options, like design, build all in one, design, build, back to back, design to build separately, but we're just gonna put it all out to bid and see what happens. Just put it out there.
But we're still talking a delay, right? I mean, we're not talking about next year, having that start, right?
No, the design wouldn't even, we wouldn't at this point even get money until. Oh, construction, we would, yes, correct, would not be.
27, maybe, assuming.
So depending on how the bids come back, and if it's like split out, like we can do pickleball, but your skate park is gonna be separate, or we can design these two together, but we're never gonna build them at the same time.
Yes. a lot of-
Yes, so we're gonna see where that goes, but that has been on my to-do list now that the pool is closed, is
Have more free time.
to have more free.
So-
Free.
They really do.
Wonderful. All right. Anything else
Thank
with
you.
regards to the director's report? Okay. I don't know if you could jump into this next, but for the catalog that you attached, I already texted you this. This is probably the best catalog or fall brochure I've seen come out of Park and Rec.
You have to thank my staff.
This,
for
I
it.
mean,
Yeah, they did a nice job.
Grace, who has just recently started with us in July, loves to do this part of the
Wow.
brochure. Chris hates to do this. He is thrilled. So he basically gets all the information and just says, here you go. And she makes it look the way she makes it.
I mean, it looks professional.
Yeah.
It does.
So she did a great job. I mean, they built it in Canva, but she really did take it to the next level. So
I mean,
it's great.
talking about the other programs in there on community resources, I mean, I hate to say it, this is probably the first time I've ever seen this much detail
Lots of information.
in this. I mean, about the schools, the recreational fields, everything in there, you're honestly getting too much information compared to not enough. I always like that.
Well, that's one of the beauties of no longer printing it.
Mhm.
Is it can
Oh,
be, it
yes.
can be a little bit more spread out. It doesn't have to be all squished in. And it's a lot easier to read because it's only digital.
Got it.
I mean, we print copies in the house, we put them in the library, we put them in various places, but we don't go to print like we used
Send them
to.
out to.
I think it's great. I would say for the spring one, that there will probably be one. Spring brochure, there will probably be a spring brochure like this.
There's a winter,
Maybe winter.
there's a
Winter,
winter
you're right,
one,
there is a winter
a
one.
spring
Okay.
one, and a summer one. Chris is upset that there's no picture of the commission
Yep.
in our brochure. And I told
We
him,
haven't updated our picture in a while, even on the
I told him we
website.
don't have one.
We will get one, and that is going to be one of our agenda items in the next few meetings,
Get a
that we
picture
are
of the
gonna get a,
compliments?
yep.
Put
And,
it in here?
yes, I
That's
think
what
we
we
should.
like. I mean,
And here's the other part, is that everyone's gonna hold a piece of sporting equipment. So you're gonna see Cindy with a hockey stick, Jim with a lacrosse stick, Dina with a volleyball. It's gonna be good.
Can you find your portion?
Yes.
I was like, let's
Did
take
you
it to the next
horse-
level. Can you bring the
horse
horse
in
in?
there?
Maybe.
So, no, we do need to update, I wanna say.
How about golf?
Yeah, golf
That's
course fine.
less exciting, but
I know,
I'll.
I know.
Well, we need to update that, photo. I think it, I hate to say it, I think it has Dave. Photo in
Oh, I
there.
think it does
Yeah,
have
I think it
Dave.
does, and I mean, out of respect, I think it's great that it's there, but we need to update that photo.
Passed away in 2000.
So he's a good memory.
So, yes, they do a great job.
Wonderful. All right, going through, back to the agenda. No new updates on commission policies or.
So one of the things that, I know you guys are all very, focused on the middle school.
Mhm.
But I would like to finalize and have you guys approve the policies and the goals.
Sure.
I want to finalize and approve the multi-purpose room policies.
Mhm.
We did get another call this week. When Jane, who works for public health, answers the phone for us, it is the best. She does
Why?
not
What'd she do?
care. She's retired, she's just like, no, we don't do that. And then she's like, if you wanna call Stacy, you can, I'm like,
She looks like the same
it's
thing.
so great.
So they're afraid you would call back.
They don't call back, they email me.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, so that one, we need to update our field policies after
That's gotta be done
the
by,
baseball thing.
way
And then
before.
we did get another another question from Andrew Fink that on paper was a reasonable question, we should probably put it into our policies. It was about parking at our fields and whether or not the permit means they get parking. And I said, well, all of our parking spots are public parking spots. His question in particular made sense only because it was about Avery and Eversource trucks were
Oh,
parked.
goodness, they've got that blocked off completely.
So,
oh, that's okay, right.
so
You can have
totally
Webster.
Sure, no, that's legit, that's a very.
legitimate
legit
question, especially in a spot like that. I mean, we don't, Cricket has no parking either, but if we had Eversource over there. So I did talk to DPW and it took a day or two, but we did get them out before the weekend.
Oh,
With
they've
this-
been there for a long time. And it
Because-
worked so hard to get that those parking spaces.
Yes,
to
and he
get
was like, well, we
in
can have
that
people
city.
park in the driveway. I'm like,
No, 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 no,
no. Please don't do that.
I mean, you do put affordable at Avery.
No, we put it, and then we got complaints, I yanked it, and then,
You're not gonna put one this fall.
Same thing with Perry, we never put one back in Perry, did we?
Perry, I understand, but
Yeah.
Avery, we have games, right?
Right, exactly, yeah.
Sports group.
Exactly, yeah.
More
That
It's a
one
little
we're
bit
gonna-
over the group, the JV team played there when Claxon was off.
yes, so we're gonna have to put something there, and deal
I
with
don't
that.
blame those
But
neighbors, but I don't know what, I mean,
Where's the happy medium?
there's no other reason about
right, and those
The main thing-
softball girls, I mean, it's just not.
You gotta
It's
do
not
it,
right.
you gotta do it right. So that, and then the last thing that we need to figure out is the disc golf
Mhm.
question. And I think that what ultimately that sort of snowballs into is which is coming up in minutes, basically, is the capital plan, the 5-year plan, and what is our priority list? And what am I submitting to the town this year and in what order? So I think what I need to do is pull all that stuff together and get it to you guys ahead of time,
Yes,
That would be great.
so you guys can look through it, like what we had
prioritize
last
what we
year.
think and talk to you what you think, and then we can.
So that'll be my plan this week, is trying to get all of the information that we submitted last year out to you. And then what do we need, what are we resubmitting? What do we need to bump? What do we think is gonna,
right.
because
Where's
some of the
priority?
things we have to, I think about is like, is this really gonna go this year? Or is the town manager gonna ultimately bump this anyway, and should we try to move something that might go through versus we know it's not?
And disc golf is a placeholder, but we really haven't.
We have never put that all the way
We
out there,
have
so
not
we now have to
prioritized
figure out what year that is gonna go in.
And that's only fair to that group, they have asked.
I mean, if nothing else, we owe them the time.
We do,
And
absolutely.
so,
And his frustration is understandable.
sure, I mean, the process is the process, but the process is not, it doesn't make sense to anybody, including us, but we just know what it is.
Since we're talking about this right now, can we jump to the next few meetings? Like, you probably need to have a date of when you need that response from the commission. So we could talk about the 5-year plan.
Yeah.
When is your date that you need to know by?
I would get that to you.
Okay,
Dave Davidson emailed them within the last week, and I have not been looking at my email very thoroughly.
okay. So I'm just saying, with the holidays coming up, like, if you had to take a guess, kind of know by November, we talking October?
October,
Okay, October,
Yeah, the capital plan goes in pretty early.
Okay.
very early on.
got it. So even if we're looking at it, like, to have I would say if you could get it out to us before the September-ish meeting.
I
Then
would
we
like to get
can
it to
look
you
at it, go through a rough
by the end
draft,
of
and then
this
have,
week,
the beginning of
ideally.
October.
Yep.
Have something.
Because all I
by
need
that
to do is put it into a PDF, because
Yep.
it's actually already on the websime, but I can make it easier, for you guys to look through.
And if you wanna give us your sense of priorities, what you think are priorities, we would, really
But also
respect
do that and last year's budget, so you know where we're thinking about for this year, and yeah, those are the big things for the policies and stuff.
Goals you'll update to, the multi-purpose room, you said, fuel
Yeah.
policies, all great things. I mean, if you want to hit us all at once,
Oh,
Great.
oh,
you know, it just, again, but if there's some things that
Because
we
we'd
have
be kicking it
discussion,
down the road also.
then I know,
yes,
that if there's certain things we need to discuss, we need to discuss them, but if we're kind of at the final of, hey, we're just waiting for the ink to dry, then we'll just crank through all that one night. So,
and I need to go back and figure out, look at the doodle poll that you guys filled out for these meetings and see who didn't fill them out, and then go back and send them. Because we need to reschedule the next two meetings.
Yeah.
yeah,
Some of you did, some of you didn't. I have zero memory, so I might just
It was-
resend.
I did,
we-
it's two
yeah.
separate ones, it's,
Right,
yeah,
yes.
for both, yeah.
And we may have both things in.
Of course, so have I.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll probably resend a doodle poll about September meeting when we can reschedule.
All right, we have moving on to our action items, we have no special event approvals.
There's only 2 new PTC events.
You can handle those, you're at the
Yeah,
discretion
it's
of the
another
director,
trunk
the
or
assistant
treat,
director.
whoever's excited about those, another trunk or treat and another movie night.
No policies to go over, no minutes of the meetings for the last one. Grace will be working on those items.
Nikki finished ones from way back, she was very excited, but then she wasn't in the office today, because she had to work from home because of the kid thing. But yes, Grace is working on some, Nikki is working on the one before that, at some point, you guys have 10 of them. So,
They only need to be posted too, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah, okay.
I mean, it's interesting because now that all our meetings recorded, there's less drive. Because people are like, oh, we don't have them, but you can look at the video, and they're like, oh, great, and so.
Perfect then. Item I just want to bring up is that correct me if I'm wrong, I heard we have a new assistant athletic director for the town.
You do.
So I would.
Her name is Bella.
Bella,
I
fantastic.
have not met her in person, I have only met her over the phone.
We would like to extend an invitation to her to join us at any of our next meetings, just to get familiar with her, and I mean, I would not like to meet her at the field summit, I would like to meet her prior, just so she
Yeah.
knows.
Where's she from?
I apologies, I didn't, just first time I'm hearing the name.
Yeah, I didn't know, okay.
How, it's in the last few weeks, or was it?
July, she started in July, because I got an email, I got a text from Brian that said,
Got it.
hey, can you add Bella to the Musco lighting?
Like, who's Bella?
And it's like,
Bella?
sure, who you
I
talking
didn't
about?
get it, so,
Yeah.
but yes, definitely
That, and
extend an
then
invitation.
A new assistant town or deputy town?
we do, I think
What,
it's
we do
was
too?
announced tonight, right?
So I did read the select board package, I almost always flip through the package, and I was very surprised, I hadn't heard anything about it. That they were appointing her, or maybe she already
Today.
hired today, yeah, Elizabeth something. LaRose or something.
Rose.
La Rose, yeah.
Wow,
So
okay.
the
Yeah,
same
so-
thing about, did you read where she's from?
Yes, but I can't recall, what was his
Stacy
name
does.
about it, you know?
Yes, I do. So she is the Director of Recreation and Library and Community for the town of Randolph.
Yeah,
So her background is
Really?
Recreation and Library, which both myself and Rob are her direct reports, so
So
I,
so I was surprised at that background, but,
so not a ton of communities combine those 3 things, but
right,
whichever.
right.
It's recreation, library, and community resources, or there's a third one that's
Yeah, that
sort
is.
of all encompassing.
So I
Wow.
did read your background.
So
That's
no,
not
and the rec
really
department
accepted.
is attached or within the library in Randolph. I don't know her personally, sounds like she might have been too busy to be involved in MRPA things.
Okay.
But I did read up on her and then I did a little research, so it will be really good for us to have somebody who understands.
Someone who's
That's-
understanding, right,
wow.
very
Actual
different, and very
recreational.
different than Kate King's background, which
Yep.
is actually nice, so that they'll be complimented.
Yeah, Katie King has, you know,
Yeah.
like,
Municipal
Steakhouse.
experience, right,
Work
it's very
experience
mayor.
versus-
And Randall has a very robust parking program, so, I mean, that is
and
great.
they work a lot with their YMCA and their Boys and Girls Clubs. So they work together with those, so that like they're programmatically.
Brings that
it's-
in,
Yes, so.
I think it would be great to extend an invite to her also.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I know she's probably got a lot and we're probably low on the total pole, but
We're
definitely.
like, hey, welcome, it's budget season.
Yes, get your.
We can talk
pencil
to you
ready.
now,
Come on.
about welcome.
Yeah, we'll see you
And
when
they're trying to build
Yeah.
this big old middle school
you,
also, and there's 47 other projects happening in town. Well,
that's not an overstatement.
no,
47. That's actually very.
but yeah, so she was, we got an email, I got an email late last week that was like, hey, heads up, we're gonna be announcing this. But we wanted to let you know, because that, basically it's my new boss, so.
Yeah.
Those
Oh,
are
great.
nice to her.
Fantastic. All right, anything else, topics for future meetings? I know that when we get the agenda out and things like that, Stacy's good about asking. I mean, if anything is still on here, I say we just keep them on as more placeholders, so we have that option. But if there's anything that's very prominent that we want to add on, I mean, communicate it out as quickly as we can, we'll get it on there. And if we can't get it on the first agenda, we can talk about it, the chairs updates and item issues not recently anticipated, but then we can put them on the next future agendas.
I had to add things that we already talked about was the CIP 5-year disc golf budget priority list, so.
Can we put on something in the future? Like Corvette just finished.
Yes,
Yeah, so we're
We're
gonna
gonna
maybe
do
a
that. We
program.
could do that like in August or.
Encourage.
I would
Yeah.
like that to be either in October or an early November meeting. Because I mean, then you kind of get to the holidays, so if we could target the November meetings for that, that would be fantastic.
I'll put it on there.
Yes,
Mr. Chair, I think it's interesting, I've been reading the select board package, and maybe you already knew this, but the select board was approving parking restrictions on George Agate. And so they're approving restrictions, I just jotted this down, Monday through Friday, 2 to 7, and Saturday, 8 to 2.
It's good.
Now, I didn't look into it too deeply, but it was part of their package, and
I'm extremely interested in this now.
so I didn't know if anyone had heard about it. Had you heard about this?
See, give us
Okay,
the great wizard, let us know behind the curtain.
Because we were told so many times by the police that.
so we had a meeting with members, residents of George Agate, not
Mhm.
just Eric, but other
Yeah,
members. And then we had TAC in there, we had Kate King, Kate Patrick, we had the police, we had everybody that could be in the room that could be affected. And basically what the town said is we can only, there's nothing more we can do for you unless you want no parking signs.
Okay,
And then what came out of that was Tyler saying, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Like, it doesn't have to be no parking forever. It can be during these hours. It could be one side of the street versus the other side of the street. So they gave them some options to the residential group. Everybody except Eric was thrilled to hear that all of these were an option. And so they went back and obviously they have come back to TAC and the PD to say, we want to try it. Because they said, somebody said, well, what about, can we do like Monday to Friday from 3 to 6? And then somebody was, Katie King was like, Stacy, are those the best hours? I'm like, maybe 3 to 7. Like to get past that turnover part.
running through 2 o'clock, but hey.
It is
three.
2.
Oh, it is 2, oh, it is 2.
So they extended it to 7, and then they said, what about Saturday? And I said, our busiest time as far as our permits go are about 8 to 2. I said, what you do with that? And so I didn't even know this was
It was in, it
official,
was in
I just
our
knew it was
package.
in works, that
Got it.
the residents were interested in trying something. Because they said, well, if we try it in the fall and it doesn't work, can we take them down? And TAC and PD were like, yes.
Okay.
So this means the police can enforce it, and
It is
hopefully they
enforced.
will enforce it. Okay,
Got it.
terrific.
Now, they were told, the neighbors were told, they're not gonna just come by and start ticketing people, like, you're gonna have to call the police if there's an issue, then they can come down and do it.
Can we, as a proactive, once that goes into act or when the signs go up, reach out to all of our user groups.
Yes, well, we should be doing that regardless.
Sure, but I mean,
But
as an
yes.
extra one now, I mean, again, we hit them with a lot of information with the fall permits.
Yep.
I think this is something special to say, update.
Yep.
Any, participating group that is around, DeFazio Complex and the George Agate area, this now goes into effect as a pilot program.
Particularly the, high school, right, the.
It's really
high
the-
school-
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
the school, it is
That's
the-
what,
I
that's
think
what
the
that
issue-
group struggles with.
Mhm.
Right. I mean, I don't do Saturday mornings, but the weekdays are definitely school.
Wonderful. How has it been going with the fall permits? Any issues, conflicts, anything? I know I've seen Wu out there numerous times and again, guy always got a smile on his face.
Our,
Nice.
yes,
Yes.
our biggest complaint from Wu is, and unfortunately has been the high school kids, but he has included Ryan on these texts, is the trash stuff. And again, it's not like gross trash, it's water bottles and Gatorade bottles and whatever, and it's just like, but it's not like.
It's
just
just
pick up.
mostly at high school, or do you find it every?
It's
Mostly
mostly
at Memorial
Memorial and DeFazio.
Well, I haven't really used.
Yeah. We also got a picture randomly of, and I will share it with you guys later, it was a bike locked to a tree, but it was hanging in the air.
Oh, God. Creative with these kids. Creative.
I was like, well, that took some effort. Well, it was like, what do I do? I'm like, this is good. I don't know.
Hate to say it's probably up there for a reason. I don't think it's put up as a joke. I think someone put it up there for a reason.
Yeah. So, that's his biggest complaint is that.
The only other two things that I know, we were talking about this before, I'm gonna butcher it, the AED units, defibrillators. I thought there was no power at the one in DeFazio? Or no phone line?
I think it was quote unquote stolen.
And that's it, it was stolen, and it's not been.
So we replaced it. I got the company to drive it to me, which they did because apparently they're dead. I was like, okay, great. And then we went to put it back and Hannah texted me and says, there's already an AED here that's working. And I was like, okay.
So it was misinformed that it was stolen?
I don't know where,
Because we saw one.
either that, my guess is
Someone
some
there.
kid took it.
Got yelled at by their parents.
And some parent was like, what the heck?
Yep,
Go put that back right now.
which the parent actually did, not
Yes.
the kid, so.
That is my, I am a parent and this is probably what happened
Mhm.
thought.
Imagine, I'd be so.
I'd be
angry.
so mad.
Yeah,
But we are also in the process of ordering a whole bunch for some of our other fields and like all good things. We got one AED and no AED box. We got another thing, so I'm just working with the company. Cause I can't just put an AED anywhere. We have to buy boxes to put them in
exactly.
so that they are safe and that they will actually call 911 if somebody needs
So they need the phone line or access to.
So the ones
Internet.
so we don't have access to internet in a lot of our fields, and so what we have is something that Dover uses, and it's like you have to call PD, you have to call 911 to get the code to open thing. Which,
I would not have known that.
which automatically, so they give you the code to open the door, but you've already called 911, so they've
Triggers the
already,
response.
So you've got that. right?
already got them, and then it takes about 3 seconds, because we have run tests on it, then you can get the AED and go start using it, but by that point, the ambulance is already underway.
Got it.
That's the first thing they tell you to do. Just have someone on.
And
Wait,
so
do I-
before you even can get the door open, that's
Got it.
that's what the new boxes are, until we can get actual infrastructure where we can put the other kind in, but that's.
Are we waiting to do that at the memorial?
Should be one of them. Is there one at the middle?
On the outside?
I'll double check. I mean, I just haven't
Have
been
to
up
look
there
at
a little bit
flag.
yet. I know, you have to wait for Sunday. Gosh,
That's a
I'm
good
trying to think
question.
where it is.
I mean, I know there's one in the building, but I don't know if there's one out of the
I
building.
don't know if there's one on the outside. I mean,
And I
it's-
know all Ryan's coaches carry them.
right, but you gotta think of what happens on the
Everybody
weekends
else.
when it's not a high school event and
Well,
it's a
if they don't
youth
have
event.
one of those.
I don't remember one on the
I
outside.
mean,
I'm just trying to think.
Because I remember, here's the other thing, I know with all the vandalism that was
Right.
happening with that TikTok challenge, destroy a bathroom type of thing, that we were hesitant about putting it close to there, agreeing that it still needs to go there, but I know we didn't want to put it by the public bathrooms under there. But I'll take a look on Sunday.
put it there, we're gonna put them in the most conspicuous places we can. Ideally, if there's cameras, we'll put them near those, because they will get smashed potentially. But some of our fields, like Walker Board, we're just gonna hope and pray that one doesn't get vandalized.
God, kids have nothing else better to do.
Yes.
Vandalize something like that. Ugh.
We don't have one.
No,
No,
not
but if you put something like that, people are gonna get, hey, what's this? Kind of thing. But, all right, anything else? Talk
Now,
future
be a little
meetings?
nervous for our next meeting, because September 22nd is out.
Yep.
Mhm.
Terrific, perfect. Thank you.
And then, yeah, so yeah, definitely look at the Zoom poll on that, see what we all kind of answered and then confirm with everybody. Because I know it was probably a few weeks ago that, said, probably made other plans that whatever we originally did, double check to make sure everyone can do, we'll go from there.
Good.
All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, we'll just do a roll call vote since there's only three of us here. So all those in favor say aye, or I'll take a roll call vote. Cindy?
Aye.
Jim? The chair is also aye. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.
Right.